Welcome to the School of Morton podcast. I'm Scotty Campbell, along with WWE Hall of Fame inductee Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express. Hello, Ricky.
Well, hello there, Scotty. Man, did you watch football last night?
Actually, I didn't.
You didn't
but
get
that
to
was
watch
a big
the SEC. Both teams from SEC play for the national championship.
I actually, at the encouragement of a friend of mine, I said, okay, I'll be for the Georgia Bulldogs. And, of course, they lost. So the history is, and it stands to this day, if I pull for a team, they're going to lose.
Oh, they really? Well, let's mean you go to do some gambling together.
There we
or
go.
If that works. I wasn't really for either team. I'm a diehard Tennessee fan. But what I am proud of is SEC. You know, you always hear the Pac-10 and the Big 12, all of them complaining that nobody in the SEC plays nobody. But what they don't realize, every team in the SEC is dominant. They don't even realize that. You know, that's from Mississippi State, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. You know, look how many national championships these teams have won, but they don't play nobody. But it's okay. What am I to say? Boy, I'm going to get a lot of heat off that.
Woo.
Wow.
So, here we are, and we're going to have a special guest coming up later on the show. But first, I wanted to ask you some questions. And if you have any questions for Ricky Morton, just tweet them to us at Real Ricky Morton and to myself at Scotty is on. SCOTTY is on via Twitter. If you're a Facebook person, Facebook at Scotty on the radio and Facebook at School of Morton. All right, Ricky Morton, question from Jeff. What was it like to finally see a wrestling figure of yourself?
Man, it was great, but I wish they'd make another one. Jax came out with the wrestling figure. Had to be several years ago. They only made a certain amount. Man, I really wish WWE would come out with one. Yeah, and because it's a life changer, and I'm not sitting here and not complaining. But, you know, we were before the guys made all these money, and literally I guess it was my own fault because we didn't. But, man, I'd love for them to come out with another one. Maybe a great tag team that Mattel, because their marketing is really good. You know, that's something that what reminds me of, you know. And I'm going to go back, and I'm changing the subject, and I'm going to a whole new thing here. You know, I've been on the road this week. I was in a little town called Morrison, Tennessee, outside Minville. And it's not only that, but it's like every town. It's like my School of Morton. You know, it's not the market of professional wrestling. It's the marketing. And I got to say that, my School of Morton, James Strange. Everybody, man, your school does so great. Yeah, but James is educated, man, he marketed, he keeps the school going and storylines. And the same thing with, you know, when I go to these towns, you know, small town, and man, they promoted it real well because I knew as soon as I pulled in town and got out at the store and somebody said, man, I'm coming to see you tonight, I knew that they had promoted the show. So, yeah, and I want all the independent promoters to know that, man. You just can't use Facebook. You know, the word of mouth is better than putting posters up. And I do that. Every time I go to a town, I always stop 3 or 4 places to see if they know that we're going to be in town tonight. And, man, you know, Morrison did. It was a great house. I had a great time. And sometimes you got to let the fans know that you're wanting to see them as much as they want to see you. That was Vince McMahon. Tell him I can't make Monday Night Raw. Dadgum, I'm too busy. But yeah, and it's true. You know, you got to let the fans know that you want to see them too. You know, that's what you know, our business. You got to know. I mean, we're not out on the big, you know, the big circuits, WWE. You know, we're on the independent circuit, and we got to depend on this for a living.
How important do you think television is to WWE's success today?
It's everything, in my opinion. You know, and like when you had territories, you know, you had your local, maybe Channel 5 TV, and you had a good time spot. If your ratings were good, you know, it's like anything else. The cheaper it was. But then when all these TV stations come out, then everybody got TV. You know, they just just done away with all that. There's nothing free no more.
Everybody's wanting that dollar bill, or needing it, maybe. You know.
Well. Yeah, I got it.
It takes it, for sure. Okay, Ricky, and also, we've covered this before, but a guy asked, how did Ricky get the nickname Punky? Rumor has it Dick Murdoch gave it to you. But I know the truth, and the truth is that's not the actual story.
No, that's not the actual story. But, I come up with a lot of sayings a lot, and I'm going to tell you the actual story, but you're talking about Dick Murdoch and where I get a lot of sayings at. So, I was out in Amarillo, and I went out to Dickie's place, and out in the country. It's a farm ranch, I guess, and Dickie been drinking. And, and I'm sitting there talking to him, and he had a big old black dog. He's tied up to a tree. And Dickie, I says, Dickie, I said, man, you're out here on this farm, this ranch. I said, how come you got that dog tied up? He looked at me, he says, you see that chicken over there? I said, yeah. He said, he would kill it before God got the word. Is that quick enough?
That's a snap.
Oh, gosh. And I say that a lot of times. I say, I'll whoop your behind before God got the word. But, no, man, Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich is the one, and Tommy he came back from Atlanta to the Memphis territory, and Tommy's turning heel. He's wanting to work with me, and he goes out and does an interview. Ricky Morton, you punk, and you punk, and Punky Morton, and it stuck with me the whole time. And we're talking about Memphis Wrestling. Memphis, man, was a great wrestling man, and have we got a surprise for later on the podcast, our guest. I absolutely love this guy. And I'm going to tell you this right now. That wouldn't really be the Rock and Roll Express or the Midnight Express or Jimmy Cornette if it wasn't for this guy. That happened. But to get back to what I'm saying, in our business, boy, you ought to have a buzz now by the time I say Punky.
Awesome. Now, if you want to hear the full conversation where Ricky Morton and I talked one-on-one with Wildfire Tommy Rich, you can hear that in the archives at iTunes. Search for School of Morton and on other podcast platforms, too. If you'll just search for School of Morton, you'll be able to find the Tommy Wildfire Rich episode. We've also talked to Austin Idol in the past. Nature Boy Ric Flair. Yes, we've had a one-on-one conversation with him. Also, the co-host of Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. That's available in the archives, rickymortononline.com, and click on the School of Morton podcast, and you can listen to all those old ones. A lot of memories been made over the past multiple weeks, really, as we both sat and reflected, Ricky, on life on the road and so many road stories and so many yet to come.
Yeah, you know that, man, after Christmas, and you listen to me talk on here, man, I'm not really all that bad. When Christmas comes, I celebrate the greatest gift of all, too, Jesus Christ himself, his birthday. But I just wanted to let everybody know that, man, we have a lot of stories. We can sit here and talk about NFL football. NFL football's been in the news all the time, every time you look. But you know what's sad about it? None of it's about football. And it kind of frustrates you a lot, Scott.
Sometimes I tell myself, whatever happened to just simply being entertained?
I know. You know what? Being on the road, wrestling on the weekends, Sunday was my day to go home and watch football. Mm-hmm. And now I don't know what I'm watching no more. And I'm serious, I really don't know. And you talking about stories, gosh, man, I got a couple of them. Especially when I'm talking to you try to get knowledge to your kids at the school. And sometimes it really goes over their heads. It's like one guy was asked me, I said, man, it's like this right when you're in a bar. You see a pretty girl that you know, but you don't. You know her, you've seen her, and you go up to her and you say, honey, what's your name? Sherry. No, Sherry, your last name. See, people don't understand that, man.
Wow.
Wow. See, you got to be slick about everything that you do. Great. But you may tell you a wild, crazy story. Got two of them I'm going to tell you.
All righty.
One of them was my partner, Ken Lucas, and out of Memphis, Tennessee. We were down there. I was still a young kid and a business boy, and I was wild as a buck. But one thing I could never do was catch Kitty talking to another girl. And what I mean by talking to another girl, a lot more things might have happened. Never could catch him. He'd be talking to him, and I'd say something to him. And you guys had to know Ken Lucas. And later on, our guest here in a little while, we're going to talk about him. He'll know what I'm talking about when he gets going. But we're at a town in Selmer, Tennessee. And it was summertime, and all the buses were out back. In summertime, back in the early 80s and late 70s, that's when your business was real good. Everybody got out of school, and you didn't have all the stuff you got going on now, basketball, football, and everything else. But
didn't have 25 practices every evening.
Matter of fact, it was when Robert and I hadn't been teamed up yet. But but I'm looking through the bleachers at this high school. It's summertime, and I could see Ken Lucas talking to a girl, and they're doing this. I can tell by their hand language and everything. Ba ba ba. And I watched Robert. I told Robert, stay right here. And I seen Kid walk out and go out the back door. And I seen her go out the front door and come around. So me and Robert, come on, get down. And it was just getting dark. And here comes Ken, and he's looking around like he's paranoid or something. He's looking around, and ba, ba, ba. Like I said, there's a lot of buses out back. Me and Robert down, we seen Kitty go on that bus. Then all of a sudden, I seen that girl go on the bus. Boy, me and Robert was going, boy, we were like Rambo, man, we're down on all four. And we get about halfway there. When we do, Kid Lucas comes off the bus one step. Boom, dust. Here come the girl. She falls down the steps, hits the dust in her face. Dust is flying. She gets up, takes off running, and all of a sudden, here come a great big old German Shepherd out there. Wow, 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 wow. Right on. The dog had puppies on the bus. Now, but you have to understand and put yourself in to watch this. I can't. Me and Robert beat each other to death just laughing.
I bet.
I'm telling you, just laughing. And one thing, and me, buddy, I was really protective about my business, really. And I'm not here to, to put anybody down. And it's just like I have this happen to me all the time. I teach youth wrestling at my school. Okay, you have youth baseball, you have youth basketball, you have youth soccer. Then you go to junior high and everything. But at my school, I have youth kids, and I have a lot of people that come to, and I'm not here to pick because I don't get on Facebook. I don't do drama. But I just want these folks to know that when you say something bad, if you really understand what our business is about, see, when somebody thinks they know about our business, Scotty, they really don't know SHIT. They don't know nothing. They act like they know. That's the reason we call you a mark, to get that down to right in the earth, because somebody said something about that. But what I want you to know, if you only been to my school and see what I do with these kids, how I change their lives. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't have the answers to everything. It's like I'm doing a seminar this coming Saturday in Kansas City.
Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes, sir. Kansas City, Kansas. At 9 o'clock. And I just want the students to know, I want you to come out and see this, but you got to understand, see, I might not be right about everything, but I'm never wrong. When it comes. But no, it's the same thing. But I'm saying, guys, don't knock it till you try it. I mean, don't come out there and acting like you're all big and bright, because everybody started somewhere. And if you ever been to my school, man, it's seen like the Jungle Boy and Hound Dog. And have you ever seen these guys wrestle?
They're good.
They're absolutely tear the house down.
What are they? Each of them 10 years old?
Oh yes,
about it.
Yes, they're 10 years old. But being from my school made their public speaking a lot better. The bullying part, they went away because it's not them fighting them. It's the part about they know how to handle themselves. That's really cool. And I really, that's when I went in. You got off on a whole row here about Kid Lucas and everything. Yeah, and especially you got to understand, at my school, a lot of great things come out of there. Like I was saying, some of my students. But, man, Chase Owens. People want to say bad things about what I do, but look at Chase. Wow, look what he's... And, that's what I preach. It's not what you... it's not what you could be, it's what you want to be. And don't ever give up on your dreams. And I got to hand it to Chase Owens. He was out there hustling and hitting the roads, and he went for it. And man, he's got him a real great position now over in Japan, and especially when he comes back, independent, Canada, and opportunity when it comes knocking in our business. You have to prepare yourself. And if you're not prepared, it's going to pass you by. You have to be ready for any situation. And this is a great learning progress for Chase over in Japan. But he told me he loves being in Japan. So I don't know where it's going to go from there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like my son Kerry. I get a lot of compliments on him. And guys, let me tell you something, and that's great giving me compliments about him wrestling, about him being acting and all that. But when Ric Flair comes up and tells you, Ricky Morton, you have the best mannered kid I've ever met in my life. Now see, that's a compliment. Absolutely. The rest are just a trip downtown. But understand me, my son, he dedicates his life. That's why he's into acting for it, to learn how to talk, learn how to do the things. And I'm trying to tell this to everybody that's out there. Man, if you want to be a part of our business, you only get out of it what you put into it. You don't get out of it by getting on Facebook and talking bad about people and saying bad things, because I'm telling you fellas, it always come back and bite you. There's a lot of times, but you know, I got older and mellowed out, I guess. Or the medication the doctor put me on, I don't know which one. But I just, I don't go back and fight them. But I'm wanting you to understand what I'm doing at my school. You know, and it's really good. And I have a few guys potential. They have WWE potentials. And I'm serious. It's just preparing them for the right time, right place. And if we get that done, Scotty, I mean, look what these guys, there's no end to this. And I encourage all of you to come down there. So what's up now, Scott?
Well, we have this question from Adam. And he says, can you get Ricky Morton to talk about a match he wrestled against Lynn Denton, the grappler, with no wrestling ring? Now, Adam says that Lynn Denton mentions it in his book and would love to hear your memories of it.
Well, it's just like I'm trying to tell you, I wrestled Lynn Denton in no wrestling ring because the ring didn't show up. Back then, it wasn't because it was promoted no wrestling ring.
It wasn't a gimmick match,
No, it wasn't.
Turned into one, though.
Man, when you work for shows, and I think this is for the Jarretts. One of the Jarrett shows, when he came in there as one of the Dirty White Boys, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. But you see, the wrestling ring, you have guys that pull them. If they break down, in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, this happened a lot of times, God, a truck would break down and...
And let me guess, Jim Cornette would cuss.
No. He would. If I told people, they wouldn't even believe this. But they did. Several times I seen the ring truck break down in that big old semi-tow truck. We'll look here, pull it to the building at 8 o'clock when the match is supposed to start. But when we worked for Jarrett, the ring broke down. And here in a minute, when we have our special guests on here, you'll understand we drew a lot. This is the hottest band in the world at that era. And when the ring didn't show up, you got a high school gymnasium plumb full of people with no ring. Hey, just put mats out there on the floor, brother, because we're not giving the money back. You hear me? And it worked, and that's the way it did that. That's where that come from. And that happened not only once to me. I've done that several times. Being Ken Lucas against the Manchurians with Sputnik Monroe. Never forget that when the ring didn't show up. We're out there on the floor, and Sputnik, Sputnik was wild. And he's screaming. He wanted to feed in because the Manchurians wanted to be slammed. Well, Sputnik forgot that he got older. So I think Ken Lucas slammed him and he laid over there, man. I think they had to get a shovel, come and get him out of the building. Yeah, you puke. And great. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. We was talking earlier about, and might get a lot of heat for this, but I'm not the first one to throw the stone. A lot of guys need to go up and you need to look at Gino Hernandez. And he was one of the greatest heels at Southwest Championship Wrestling, had Paul Botch era. Real good. Matter of fact, I have one of my guys at my school trying to do a little gimmick. Evan, he's doing a little thing like Gino Hernandez. Because, man, he's a slick, good-looking guy. And Gino, had problems. I did too, but I didn't do them at the building. Especially when it come to protecting our business. And this really gets me. It makes me, but really tease me off a lot too when I'm at a show and somebody's going to bleed. That's how we used to feed our families. That meant something. It's not twin pressure girlfriend. It's not to something where, and it's still like that to me. But I'm wrestling Gino Hernandez in Houston, Texas, and I'm bleeding, and then it's Gino's time, and he's right in the middle of the ring. He stops. There's 5,000 people. It takes the tape off his arm. No. Look here, pulls it out. He looks at it, pulls his hair up, and I absolutely lost my mind. So I grab him and I throw him out on the floor. and I throw him out on the floor, and he goes up under the ring. So I said, well, at least he's under the ring and nobody see, but he don't come back out. And I went, wow. Oh, my God. So I get down, I raise the curtain up, and I look back at there, and it's Gino Hernandez. He's got a big old vial of, right? And
gotcha.
And he's putting it on his hands. Look here. Then I turned into Jimmy Cornette. I turned bipolar. Bruh, I mean, gosh, man, Paul Box is out there. I'm screaming, I'm cussing, and I'm hollering. But it's not the point of that. It's the time and the place for everything that you do. Up under the wrestling ring and inside the wrestling ring to expose our business that was very sacred at that time. Whew, boy, made my rear end want to dip snuff. Okay, and that's true facts right there.
So Gino Hernandez was just simply blading out in the open without going through the tradition of you don't show that.
He didn't give a crap, and I did. I don't know why he did. Well, I do.
Now, other than this particular one night, how was Gino Hernandez to work with?
Gino Hernandez was a movie star. You hear me? Gino Hernandez. And if you notice, he did. He had that spunk about him, especially when he went to TBS. If you want to see me wrestle, you had to pay. And I loved that. That was cool. But Gino could talk. Gino was a good wrestler, really. Good worker. He's one of Paul Botch's top boys. He even heard a lot of things. He's one of Paul Botch's legitimate kids. I don't know. It's none of my business. But I knew that he was really over, and Paul Botch took care of him. And I got to say, before Tully Blanchard came to NWA, man, him and Gino Hernandez, that's who me and Ken Lucas worked with a lot. We drew a lot of money in Texas and down in Harlingen and everywhere else with these guys. It was really good. But it's just stories that some people, you think and they go, oh, Ricky Morton, you're lying. Okay, whatever. But, and a lot of times I don't even tell stories because when I tell them, people don't believe me. Like I said, I'm going to have a book coming out one day. And your guys are really going to flip out. Okay? Really flip out.
Always more to be told.
Oh, isn't it though? Sure is. I got it, but it's nothing else I love better than in our business. You boys got a buzz yet? All right?
Tweet him and let him know it, Real Ricky Morton.
Sure
and this Saturday, January 13th, 2018, Kansas City Extreme Wrestling invades Kansas City, Kansas, complete with Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, man, I can't wait to get out there. I already got my long underwear, coat, galoshes. No, I'm just kidding. God, you know what, man? Even right here in the South, gosh, it got cold. Man, my motorhome froze up. And I didn't know you're supposed to winterize it. I'm sorry. No, everything's froze. It's the first time I've been here for 30 years I've seen the creeks freeze over. I never seen that.
It's been cold around
here. And it sure has. And now it's warmed up. It's 50 degrees outside, and brother, I'm thinking about laying by the pool.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's so hot. But Kansas City, hey, and if you guys ever see the match of Robert and I against the British Bulldogs, we went a 30-minute time limit, and that was in Kansas City. But nobody understands at that time it was 3 below, but the wind chill factor was like 20 below. And that old building in Kansas City, the Memorial Building, gosh, and that building's 100 years old then. Heat, but before, and it reminded me because one of my boys at my school named Marcus, before he got in the ring, he had a big old coat, Eskimo fur around it, and gloves, and it reminded me because that's the way I was dressed. And when I played Ben Roberts' music, I come out of that coat, glove, and went to the ring, and I never could. We had a great match with them, but it could have been a lot better because I never broke a sweat because it was so cold. You felt like, I remember Davey Boy power slammed me one time, and I felt like one of them cartoons that broke into a million pieces. I'm laying there, I'm going, oh my God, so cold. But it's not like, people out there are used to it, Like I was telling you earlier, like Minneapolis and Kansas City, those areas, in the summer, years ago, in the summertime, was their bad business. That's the reason when everybody would come down to Tennessee, Hulk Hogan and all them during the summer, because it sold out a lot. And then they'd leave and go back up north in the wintertime because that was their big time. They're used to it. They got all the machinery to clean the roads. It didn't matter. I'll never forget. At one show, we was there in the wintertime in Kansas City. But, it was NWA show. And we pulled up there in the line, man, gosh, it was cold, it's snowing, and foggy, and the line seemed like it went a mile down the road. And that's really weird, how the different areas, different territories are educated to a different way. But I think everybody worked during the summers out there, a lot of farmland, a lot of dairy. And
do you see any trends today where do shows draw better in the north or the south, or does it depend on the specific town and specific promoter and the card, or what?
Well, you just got it hit the nail on the head, the promoter. Like we was talking earlier, it's not the market, it's the marketing. I don't make excuses for nothing. If you got something that people want to see, they'll come see it. It's no matter where you're at. And if you don't got what they want to see, they won't come to see it. But first of all, and I'm going to say this and don't hurt the Elvis fans, but if Elvis was still alive today and he was singing over here at Freedom Hall and nobody knew about it, who would come? Nobody, because they don't know he's singing there. And you got to get out and hustle these towns. But you do a lot of good things. I mean, it's advertisement is 80% of your promotion. And that's when the promoters have got to learn about that. Instead of bringing somebody in, it costs $10,000. Bring somebody in that you got to pay $5,000 and spend $5,000 on advertisement. But that was a punch in the nose to somebody, wasn't it?
Somebody, somewhere.
Yes, yeah, because you don't got to do that, man. You don't got to spend that much money. But understand, it's like me. A lot of these guys outprice themselves. And you promoters, I want you to listen to me here because I love you and I depend on you. When somebody gives you a big price like that, all they're doing is telling you, I don't want to work for you, but if you're stupid enough to pay me that, I'll be there. Speaking the truth. Smarten up. Guys, let's all make a living instead of just one person. Okay?
I think that's fair. I really do. As a longtime fan and a person that's been in the radio business forever, why would you pay one person so much that you're going in debt? I know a promoter that's done that, Ricky. He bulked out some finances. He spent some money he didn't have to bring in some talent that he couldn't afford. And guess what happened? Shut it down. Yep.
Yeah, and it bombed. But you see, and a lot of promoters out there too, when you bring guys in, let me tell you, because, Robert and I, we had several towns canceled on us. And it's not us because we wasn't the main event. But we depend on this wrestling business for a living. And this is like being Robert, from now on, unless we know you and know that you're gonna have to send half our money to us up front. Because you canceled the shows and we depended on that money, but it's like we canceled the show. Sorry. Well, sorry my butt, that don't pay my bills. And I had several of those happen here just lately.
You've been in this business a long time. Have you ever flown somewhere or driven somewhere and you got to the venue and maybe there's a sign up, wrestling show canceled?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Didn't even have. And you talked to them that day. Oh. You talked to them that day. Oh, yeah, man, we have a show. You get there, there's nothing there. The building don't even know there's wrestling there. But, that was years ago. We smartened up a lot to that. Yeah. But it's just like some of you promoters out there. Don't get mad at us. This is what we do. And when we're at the towns and we're selling pictures and T-shirts, guys, we do that to make a living. We're not out there. It's like some of the towns that not used to coming, and you're out there, and people want to take a picture with you. We charge you $10 to take a picture. Charge $10 to take a picture with Robert and I with a Polaroid camera. Robert and I invented that. We were the pioneers of that. Then they quit making Polaroid, but it's the same thing. Those people take pictures of you. They put it on their Facebook and everything else. And then you get the ones, $10. I got to pay $10. Well, I said, well, okay, just go down to the other end down there and take a picture of those boys down there, and it's $100.
Yep.
Okay, then they come back and apologize. I said, yeah, but it's what we do. I'm not charging you. You don't have to cut your arm off. And, gosh.
Ricky Morton, I'm sitting over here, and I'm thinking about some birthday gifts for a friend of mine, and I'm a little bit undecided about what I ought to get my friend. Any suggestions?
Or any suggestions? Well, I got several different suggestions. First of all, you can go to Collar and Elbow. Man, they got some great T-shirts. They got pro wrestling tees. They have School of Morton T-shirts, Rock and Roll Express T-shirts, Ricky Morton T-shirts. Have you seen the Young Bucks T-shirt with Robert Knight's picture on it?
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
That's the business,
man,
right there.
Boy, and I'm telling you, guys, check it out. At my School of Morton, if you go, we're starting to make our own clothing, little wear. It's School of Morton T-shirts, or some of the guys that wrestle on our shows at the School of Morton. We're making T-shirts of them. So just go on School of Morton or Twitter at Real Ricky Morton or Ricky Morton Facebook. And guys, man, we love to see you. And I want to give a shout out again to my buddies over in Rock Hill, Chad Adams and Vicky Adams. If you're over that area, heating and air conditioning, man, they're unbelievable. They have such a great company and such great personalities, and they're not the kind of company that just come in and rip you off, man. They work to save you money. They're a big company, they're big, and that's the way they do it. And it's the kind of thing like I do in my wrestling business. Even when I come there and I'm 61 years old, I still try to give the people their money's worth, 100% of what I got. And that's what Vicky and Chad do in their business, and heating and air, and Dean Archer with the and really true. I made some jokes last week, about Soar No More, but it was nothing. But it's not.
Right.
I really depend on Soar No More. You see a lot of commercials on TV about this right here, and I'm very serious. It even does more than that. Just go on Facebook, look up Soar No More, Dean Archer, and I promise you, man, 100% satisfied with what it does to you. And Scotty, I'm 61. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I work out every day. And sometimes, other mornings, some days I work out harder to do other days, and you're a little sore, and you got to get moving. Mm-hmm. And that Soar No More takes care of it. So guys, if you get a chance, check it out. It's really good.
Our guest at this time, superstar Bill Dundee.
Hello, mate.
I'll start here. Bill Dundee, where did you and Ricky Morton first encounter each other?
Oh, when he was a little bitty fella, sometimes he would come to the wrestling matches with his dad. Oh, baldy.
You know what, Bill?
He was a referee. And I think he wrestled a little bit before I got here, but that's how I met Ricky, through his dad. His dad was the referee for Jerry.
Yeah, he sure did. But you know what, Bill? To really start this off good, and a lot of people don't know this and don't even understand and never even had a clue that there would not be no Rock and Roll Express. There would not be no Midnight Express with Jimmy Cornette if it wasn't for the mind of Bill Dundee. And I want you to explain to all these people what you done, how you got things started, and how you got this feud that would go down in history, the Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express feud.
Well, Bill Watts was looking for a booker, and he came up and talked to Jerry Jarrett. He was looking for a whole crew, actually, and they were going to swap talent. Well, the talent that, they're all big guys down there in Louisiana, and the size of the guys in Tennessee, you was one of them. So they got to talking about, swapping JYD for Lawler or whatever, just talking. But so anyway, they got a crew kind of picked out. So after Bill looked at the crew, and then he said, you need to talk to that little bitty fella over there and see if he wants to come be your booker. And Bill said, well, okay. So he came over and talked to me. He said, would you like to go to Louisiana as the booker? I said, yes, sir, I would. I said, this is the crew we're going with. You're not going to change it? He said, no, sir. I said, well, all right. So it was Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express, and it was Jim Cornette, Bobby Eaton, and Dennis Conray's the Midnight Express. So that was my heel team. And what I mentioned was the babyface team. So it wasn't like I would, I hadn't seen it in Louisiana, so that made me look smarter than, yeah, I see you, big truck. It was front with me, Rick Morton would damn near got run over with a big trailer. But that's all right.
That's good.
So anyway,
Keep on
we
going.
all showed up in Louisiana. And JYD, he did his thing. Jim Duggan did his thing. Hacksaw Butch Reed did his thing. Barry Darso and the Russians, but they were all the same size, great big brutes. The young ladies hadn't seen Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson type baby faces.
But another thing too,
we
Bill.
brought them down there, and they set the place on fire. The women started coming, and the boys, if you have women coming to your show, you'll have guys coming, because they come to try to hook on to the women.
Yeah.
I won't tell you that, but that's how it works. But Ricky and Robert drew all the pretty young ladies, and we was on fire. So
yeah, but too, Bill, and same thing goes not only with us. I mean, you did the same thing with Magnum TA, Terry Taylor, the Fantastics. It was all up to you that gave everybody their breaks down in Louisiana.
right, and that was because I knew how all that worked. But you boys was the two guys who I picked to go to begin with. You know what I mean? I figured if you two don't get over, nobody else will. So you guys got over like house on fire. It was really easy for the rest of us. You know what I mean? So it's like monkey see, monkey do. So you know how that was. Them women were lining up to buy tickets to see the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, Bill, you remember the Stars Bar in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we stayed there at the hotel. You remember all that?
Yeah, the good old days.
Yes, sir. And it's just like in Memphis, too. The Memphis territory. A lot of people don't even realize this. Back in territory, Memphis was the hottest territory in the country. You ran the Mid-South Coliseum every Monday night. And if it didn't sell out, something was wrong. They got somebody else. And, man, I'm telling you, Billy D, I call him Bill Super Stud Dundee. Man, no, Bill, I seen you and Jerry Lawler and you and Adrian Street and you guys. And it's just to go for 1 week or 2 weeks. This went for years, man. They're selling.
It's still going. We do some local shows here. The feud is technically still going. I mean, but the young guys that's promoting don't really know it, so they don't really book it. And Lawler don't like to work with me no more. He says, I work too friggin' hard. What can you say, right?
Yeah, but you know anyway. What? But go ahead, Bill. I was saying that we was talking about this earlier. Even though I'm 61, I still feel that I got to give the people their money's worth. And if I don't give them their money's worth, I feel like I'm serious. I'm really truthful about that. You know, I get in the ring with some guys who don't do that. Well, buddy, if I don't do, the people pay to see that. You know, I tell Robert I tell Robert all the time. People say that they pay to see the double drop kick. We got to do it, and but not only that. And I was telling Scotty earlier. I was talking about a little thing with, and it's all right, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 74 and still getting in. Them young kids don't really have a clue what they're in the ring with, technically.
Oh, yes, I know. And
we've been in the shower longer than they've been in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
I got you. And, you know, me being an old country boy, and I'm countrier than a bowl of pinto beans, and meeting Bill and hanging out with Bill. And I got to say, in our days sometimes, and I'm not the one that can throw the first stone. Everybody in the world knows that Bobby Eaton is Bill's son-in-law. He's married to his daughter, Donna. Bobby's a great, tremendous worker, but we got into a lot of crap back in those days. And at least we had Bill. We had Bill as a boss man. And I never forget, me and Bobby are hiding in the bathroom. We're in this stall. And we're doing a little something. And you know how you feel when somebody's watching you. You feel get that chill. And I look up, and Bill's looking over a metal thing. It's like his nose and his eyes. And he looks down at me, and he goes, "Hey, mate, what you putting up your snout?" Hey, I absolutely fell down, man. I said, God, that was. But I've been busted. But Bill busted me and Bobby Eaton. But that was yours.
Well, when you walk into the men's room and there's two sets of feet and they're facing one another, and I recognized the boots. I mean, I knew it was Bobby Eaton and Ricky Morton. I thought, how come them feet are facing one another? Well, I guess that's what you do when you're sharing the same spoon or whatever the hell it is you're doing with that shit. I don't know. So, anyway, I climbed up on the thing and looked over. So I'm there a good 2 minutes, 3 minutes when one of them, Ricky looks up and went, "Oh, God, Bobby, look up there." That was what I said to him. What you putting up your snout there, boy?
Yeah.
So he said, "Here, you try some." So I got the giggles and blew it all over him.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was another day.
That was another
Bill
day.
Dundee, you know how much money you just blew all over the place? I said, "No, sir."
Well, you know what, Bill? I remember, and I'm serious. I mean, I'm not. You know, I made mistakes in life. And I remember I was flying with Jimmy Garvin and Patty, his wife. he on the airplane, but Paul Jones and all of them are on the airplane. I didn't want them to see. And look here, I just $300 worth of limo driver I just got from him. And I'm sitting outside the plane, and I got it, and I told Jimmy to wait, but Patty is sitting in front of me. And I went to do that. When he did, he hit the motor on the airplane, and it blew it all in Patty's face. Oh. Okay, and she's looking at me. You know how I'm doing. And her eyes are going, and it gets, Patty's a quiet girl, pretty girl, but she's quiet. She's just watching out for me. I get on the airplane, look at her. She's sitting in front of me. I'm madder than hell. I'll kill Jimmy. Look here, she's sitting in front of me. Her eyeballs as big as baseballs. Her mouth's going 100 miles an hour, and because it goes in your glands, your eyes, up your nose, in your mouth. Look at it, and she never shut up the whole way home.
I imagine not.
Sure did.
I imagine.
And Patty was a quiet girl. Oh, yes. But I'm just telling some stories about that. But, Bill, tell everybody about Bill Superstar Dundee. I want to know, they want to know, when you came to the United States and where you're from and you stayed here and where you live at now and everything that you're doing now.
All right. Me and Barnes got together about the start of the 70s. And Jim Barnett was a promoter, and he would bring all the stars of that day over to Australia. Skull Murphy, Curtis Iakawa, Mark Lewin, Big Bad John, the Mongolian Stomper, Cowboy Tex McKenzie, Cowboy, what the hell was the other big good-looking devil's name? Another cowboy guy. But anyway, they were supposed to be the best guys in the world. So that me and Barnes would do jobs for them. So they would say, hey, you boys need to be to the States. Well, we would say, okay, get us booked there. And that would be the end of the conversation. Nobody would do nothing. So then Jim Barnett sold that to a guy named Tony Coloni, and he brought Bobby Shane over as the booker. So Bobby Shane said to us after he saw us working, he said, you guys should get over good in Memphis. I said, Bob, you know how many people have said that to us in the story that we'd get over good in America, and that's the last we hear of it. He said, well, I'm not bullshitting you. We'll go right now up to his room. So we did. He said, what time is it in Australia? Or America? We were in Australia. So anyway, he got on the phone, and he called, and he got a hold of Jarrett. He said, Jarrett, I got two guys here that you would like to get over in Tennessee. So he said, well, I'll get my mother, T.D. Jarrett, working on the papers. So they did that. Took about a year to get him. So I'm thinking, wow. So anyway, that was So 1975, January is when they said, your passports are here, everything's here, you're ready to go to America. So me and Barnes got on the plane, and here we are. So we got here, and George never really did like it. He just never, I don't know what bothered him, but he just never really cared for it. So, but we got over good. Lawler had fell out with Jarrett. Lawler left. Town was on its backside. Nobody wasn't drawing nothing. Territories down, not drawing nothing. So Jerry had a meeting Monday night and said, we're going to go with the Australians, put the belts on them. If nobody likes it, they can leave now. But nobody left. Everybody stayed. And we got over like a house on fire. So George stayed about 3-4 months and homesick. And he went home. And, well, when Jarrett first saw me, Jerry's mother said, look, he needs to be a good guy. He don't need to be a bad guy. I said, I know I'm a heel. I don't want to be a good guy. But anyway, after George left, Jerry come to me and said, hey, man, we're going to have to do what T.D. suggested. Switch to babyface. I said, oh, man, I don't want to be babyface. I'm a heel. So he said, no, we're going to switch you. So anyway, they switched me with Eddie Marlin. Eddie came with the interns, and Ken Ramey beat me up, and Eddie Marlin hit the ring, cleaned house, and me and Eddie was a tag team for the next couple of months. Went around the loop. It grew a little bit. So that's how the good guy thing came along. And then Eddie was Jerry's father-in-law, so, he promoted Tupelo. He promoted Jonesboro. And him and me would ride up and down the road, and, he would fill me in on all the things that you do in America that you don't do in Australia. So, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, that was the start of Bill Dundee being a good guy. So then I got this bright idea one day. I go to Jarrett and say, hey, man, I need to be the booker. I didn't have a clue. He said, you need to be the booker. I said, yeah. So I said, somebody's got to do it. And, you know, he said, well, Bill, it's a little harder than you think it is. He said, what do you think it is? I said, well, I don't know, putting the matches together and looking after the show. And he said, well, that's harder than it looks too. So anyway, he said, bring a book and a pencil and come up to the office Monday morning. So off I go. So I go to the office, sit in that big house, he head up there. And he says, take it to you right there. So I sit down and we start writing names down and blah, blah, blah. He says, do you have any ideas what we're going to do tonight in Memphis? I said, well, I don't really know. So he said, well, that's what the booker's job is. When you get to Memphis tonight, you need to have that show laid out and ready to go. I said, oh, okay. So he said, I'll do one and you do one. So I got the names, everybody, working with everybody. And I thought, well, this is great. So what I was thinking we should do, come back with or do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But we was kind of on the same page. He'd been around a lot longer than me booking, but I kind of knew what he liked and how he wanted it done. So we was kind of on the same page. He said, well, kid, that ain't too bad for your first attempt. So he just started me doing that different, you know, I'd go up every week and do things with him, and they would let me book this and then take care of the spot shows. And that's how it came to be being in the office, as they said, back in the good old days. And then the other thing Bobby Shane told me, he said, Bill, if you ever get a chance to be in an office when you get to America, take the job because you're kind of controlling your own destiny. And then I realized what he meant when I was in the office. You kind of are controlling your own destiny. And then a few, you know, he said again, Bobby said, and a few of your buddies, you can look after them too if you're in the right spot. I mean, you know, that's how it works, Rick. If the booker likes you, you're halfway there. And if you don't, you're halfway not.
And that's true, Bill. I got that. You know, we did a podcast not long ago with Austin Otto, and we talked a lot about Bobby Shane. And, you know, I remember Bobby Shane when I was a kid too. But you know what you was talking about earlier? I used to come to shows with my dad, and this I would never forget this. I've laughed so hard, but boy was this guy. Yeah, Big Bad John. I remember it was Big Bad John, and y'all did some angle with him. This is in Evansville, Indiana, and Lawler or somebody hit him or knocked him out or something, and those ammonia things. You remember those ammonia things you break and you used to snort?
Ammonia inhalants.
Well, I don't know.
Little white ones that you snap.
Yeah, but they posted did that, and Bill, he broke that, and he didn't know. You posted he broke it, stuck it up Big Bad John's nose. Do you remember that, Bill? Hey, instantly he quit selling and jumped up and beat the hell out of everybody in the ring.
I imagine.
Yeah. Do you remember that, Bill?
Yeah.
He cussed everybody.
Yeah, so when that was John, Big Bad John was still a heel, then they switched him babyface, and I was his partner. That's how the superstar came to light. And he was Big Bad John, and then they called him the Bicentennial Baby. Remember, 1976 was the Bicentennial Year of America?
Yes, it sure was.
So they called him the Bicentennial Baby. He wore that red, white, and blue pinstripe suit, and then, you know, the wrestling tights, a jacket, whatever, and he had that big damn hat, red, white, and blue with stars on.
Yeah.
And he said, well, if I'm going to be the Bicentennial Baby, this guy here is going to be the superstar from now on. Don't you call him nothing Lance Russell, but Bill Superstar Dundee, or words to that effect, and that's how that came about.
Oh, I know it. It was cool.
It's not like the good old days today. They just give themselves goofy names and think that's great.
But, you know, and I've told a lot of people, Bill, a lot of them don't even really have a clue what I'm talking about how Memphis at that time, I mean, you and when I was there, you know, it was you and Lawler. You had the Blonde Bombers, you know, Danny Davis, Ken Wayne, but just how and the Fabulous Ones. That was their deal there because they followed in the footsteps of Jackie Fargo. He was over so bad, but people just couldn't even realize. Just coming into town after Tupelo on Friday night, going to the hotel, there'd be 1,000 fans at the hotel.
No. Yeah, and most of them would be females when you guys were in town.
Yes, sir. But
yeah, I hear you.
But no, I'm just saying it's really hard to explain,
right.
And you try to tell people this, and they look at you like you got a turd on your head. I mean, some of some of the stories, a lot of them I don't tell, but some of them I do tell. But man, you come in on Friday night, you'd have people that brought food. You'd have another room full of beer, another room full of whatever else you wanted to do, and women.
And one full of women.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got you. Here's the thing, and I'm not telling those stories out of school or none of the other things, but mothers would bring their kids down. The mother and daughter would show up. There was a lot of mother-daughter teams, wasn't there?
I know exactly where you're coming from, Bill.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
it was,
sure was.
just, Hollywood's on fire because somebody made a movie star. You know what's all going on today and the things. And my God, back in the good old days, mercy.
Yes. And, you could get away with a lot more. You know, all the laws has changed now. I mean, hell now, Bill, if you say hi to a woman, they get you for sexual harassment. But,
well, yeah, but the women never seem to go on as silly as they are today. I mean, you know where it went on.
yes, I did, and it was. I mean, it was that Channel 5 TV out of Memphis and the bicycle tape was so powerful. You know, but you got to realize you didn't have the Memphis Grizzlies. You didn't have Tennessee Titans football. You didn't have
right.
You had professional wrestling every Saturday. And I was talking earlier, me and Scotty, and I'm repeating myself. Back then, it wasn't about the market; it was about the marketing. And boy, everybody knew about wrestling. I mean, they had one of the greatest TV programs
right.
that you ever
But
seen.
we had an hour and a half TV live every Saturday. There's a video on one of them sports channels, and it's a basketball guy talking. And when the first basketball team they brought a professional into Memphis back in the early 70s, he says, this has shocked me. This is how the guy's talking. He said, we were playing basketball and drawing 900 people to that Coliseum. And the match that he showed was me and Tojo winning the belts. He said, and their two little itty-bitty fellas are drawing $10,000 to 10,000 people to see them on a Monday night.
Yeah, Bill, I just seen that too myself. I forget the basketball player. He's the first one that come to Memphis when they first started it, and they wasn't drawing nobody. And I just seen that, Bill. And he said wrestling sells out every Monday night, and we can't draw 900 people. Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah, he certainly did. And that was true. And I don't know if they just showed that tape because me and Tojo were two short guys and they were so damn tall, but I don't know if that was the comparison of that. But it was me and Tojo they showed winning the belt.
You know what, Bill? I step back and think, man, just think of all the great talent that came out of Memphis, Tennessee. And the ones that people don't even know. I mean, nowadays, your regular wrestling mark, don't have a clue who Tojo is, or Lynn Rossi, or people like that. So, I mean, if people only realized it, and I was watching the tape, somebody gave it to me and I found it. I think Bo James had it. It was Lynn Rossi wrestling Tojo, and this is you remember the old fairgrounds that burnt down, the building that burnt down in Nashville?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tojo and Lynn, and Tojo was just standing there. And to tell you how just to work, and my dad's refereeing, and every time my dad would turn his back, Tojo would act like he was going to stick his hand in his tights. And the people behind him would lose their daggum mind. And this went on a couple of times. And then, Lynn Rossi, they do a couple of things. Tojo gets his heat. He makes the comeback. My daddy pulls Lynn Rossi back, and Tojo does go in his tights. And when he did, the whole E section come in the ring. I said, God. And they did nothing. Absolutely. But that's the reason our business has changed. But, but where I'm going to with this, you had so much heat on the Midnight Express in Louisiana.
Right.
If anybody had a clue to know, because back then they thought they knew, but they didn't know for sure about our business. And plus, it was sacred. We kayfabed.
Right. Yeah, they don't know what that word means today.
I'm telling you, they don't even know how many riots that we have every week. I mean, they just didn't realize that, Bill.
Well, Bill Watson kind of gives me the credit for this. I've been on the show when he told the people, but it wasn't just Bill Dundee. The 2 years that we were all there together, the Rock and Roll, the Midnight Express, and Cornet and me, They said, well, Dundee do it. No, it wasn't Dundee. I may have put you all together and the finish. You know how we all work together. But that was the difference. It was a team. We never went to the ring not knowing what we were doing, and everybody knew what they were doing. And everybody had a hand in how it was getting to the finish. That doesn't happen today. And I got the credit of it because I was supposed to, I'm not supposed to be the booker. I was the booker, but it was like, I had a lot of help. It wasn't just me.
Yes. And I try to explain that to a lot of people sometimes. When you do have a booker, and if the booker's working, there's a lot of things he knows in his mind that he wants to do, but he don't have the people, the talent to do what he wants done, to draw money he knows. And that's the reason the booker did it a lot himself a lot of times. And it did. It sold out. But, it's starting as young, Bill. I remember you used to set us down, and you did, and Bill Dundee's way, and go over the finishes. So since you're saying that, I remember one time he's going over a finish, and Tommy Marlin was, he chewed tobacco, and Bill drinks his coffee, and he laid it there. And I never forget that. Bill's going on, and he picks up Tommy Marlin's chew tobacco and took a drink out of it. Yeah. Hey, he spit all over me.
That was awful.
I'm sorry, because little things like that are just coming out. I'm just thinking about them right now, Bill, when we're going over finishes and little things, and gosh almighty. But I will say this to you, and I'm not just saying it because I got you on the line here, and I told you this before. Even, a lot of people said, man, even when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, if it wasn't for Bill Dundee, there would have been no Ricky Morton, no Robert Gibson. And I always appreciated that, Bill. I wanted you to know that. Not only that, but you've always been my friend.
Dude, and the little plug on that thing, it doesn't, if the people knew the story with Bill Dundee and the Vince McMahon organization, that you saying that on that TV took a little bit of balls too, just mentioning my name.
Yeah, no.
The Undertaker and I, it was because I never told him to marry the girl, but he did, and that was how the heat with me and the Undertaker got going, because I'm sure they talked about Bill Dundee or whatever, I don't know, but I never done a damn thing to Mark except try to help him.
Oh, yes.
And he will not put up with Bill Dundee. I mean, he doesn't, Johnny Dotson tells one of the funniest stories when he went to do a job on WWE TV. The guy working, all the people liking him, so they said, hey, who taught you? And he said, oh, Bill Dundee taught me this business. He said, Mark jumped up, walked over to him, took his finger and poked him right on the forehead with it. And he said, don't you mention that name again in this dressing room. And he said, I was just looking up at him and thinking, what the hell, God? All I said was Bill Dundee. But so I don't know what that girl said to him, but she got a lot of heat on me.
But, that ruins a lot of relationships, a lot of friends. But that's years ago, man, Bill. But to me, it's guys like you that nobody even understands how great that you really are. And I run a wrestling school, Bill, and I talk about you a lot up there. And then when I do seminars, but a lot of the guys, they don't even know the history of our wrestling business. And they want to be a professional wrestler. I mean, it's, let me get my stuff in. Well, why don't you shut up and learn how to work a headlock routine? That would impress me. And it's really good. But you know what, Bill? I could sit here and talk to you forever and ever, but it goes by quick when you're talking. But but before I hang up here, and this, my dad, and when I lost my dad, I lost my best friend in the world. He was, I know you called him Baldy and Paul, but my daddy and my daddy loved you, and I wanted to tell you. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and I appreciate it. And there's nothing, to me, the Bill Superstar Dundee should be in every Hall of Fame there is, not just one. You should be in all of them, Bill. And
I appreciate the kind words.
All right, and besides that, you kiss my butt. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, see, I know how this business is too, Ricky, just before we hang up. It's just like friggin' Hollywood now. They're all mad at them guys that made passes at women or whatever the hell it was they did or said the wrong thing. It's politics. And the politics in the wrestling business today is unfriggin' believable. If it couldn't work in the good old days, you was out the friggin' door, didn't matter the politics.
No, Bill, and this Facebook stuff, man, I can't believe it.
All right, Ricky Morton, you know I love you, and I'll come up and see you one of them days. Put you over too if you want.
Oh, I was gonna answer that. Yeah, Bill put me over the top rope. Yeah. Love you, Bill Dundee. God bless you. Have a good day.
All right, Ricky Morton, you too.
Thank you.
She said, Rama, lama, bama, lama, rock and roll.